Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Toss-Up. I'm Riley Woodall. Springtime is finally here in Bloomington, which means softball season is upon us. And this Indiana squad is primed for another special year. We'll break down the early success of the Hoosiers, preview what to expect from this team in May and June, and later head coach Shonda Stanton joins the show to talk everything IU softball. It's all next on the Toss-Up. And welcome to the Toss-Up, everyone. The IUSTV softball beat is in the house. Mary Kate Sullivan, Grace Jeffer, and Maura White. Guys, thanks for coming on the show to talk IU softball. We'll start with the hot start that the Hoosiers have had this season. They've won 12 of their first 17 games, some impressive wins, some tough losses along the way. What has stood out to you guys in the early going of the season that has given this team success?
First off, the start has been amazing. It's been so fun to watch. I think when a team is having success like they are, I like to look at the team dynamic, and when you look at this team, they have energy, they're competitive, and they work so hard. And they're not only working hard for themselves, but they're working hard for each other.
Yeah.
And when you have girls who are working for the girl next to them, you're going to be successful on the team or on the field, no matter what.
Yeah, definitely. It has been a really great start to the season. But what I've looked at is the batting averages. I mean, they have 7 starters batting over 300. You got 4 of those starters batting over 400. And then you've got one who's a freshman, and she's at 500. So
the offense is humming.
Yeah. So we might have had a couple tough losses, but if you look at those stats, I think that we're doing really well.
Yeah, I mean, I want to break it down kind of by a player that I think I've seen immense growth from this season. I think Brianna Copeland. Obviously, she's a powerhouse of a senior on the team, and I think both offensively and defensively, she has led to some of the success. In the game against Lafayette, the 22-0 win, she tied the single game record for hits, RBIs, and runs.
Yeah. Which
just honestly impressive and really helps their start. And then also she's utilized well in the defense. She can pitch, but she's a utility player, so you can put her anywhere on the field and you know she's going to do a good job.
Well, you mentioned Bree Copeland. I think this is a season that Hoosier fans have been waiting for because the Bree Copelands, the Avery Parkers, the Sarah Stones, right, the Taylor Minnix of this team are now juniors and seniors on the squad. MK, from your perspective, has it been like watching these players grow up, improve as they've gone on into their Indiana careers, and what can we expect from them this season?
Well, I think when you have any player and they start as a freshman and you see them play throughout their whole career, it's so fun to watch them develop. But I think the biggest thing is this team is a bunch of upperclassmen, and in order to have a team that's on the same page, you need to have chemistry. And when you have girls who have played season after season with each other, you're able to build chemistry that only comes with time. And so these girls have that chemistry and the leadership that it takes. I mean, you see Avery Parker, Bree Copeland, Taylor Minnick, they just got named to the 2025 Big Ten watch list.
Yeah.
You have Taylor Minnick, who just became the RPI leader for the program. When you have these girls who are setting records, raising the standards, you're teaching the younger classmen to always push to be the best. And these girls know what it's like to go to the Big Ten final and lose.
Yeah.
They don't want to do that again. So they are going to always push that standard, and they're not going to let that happen again this
Great examples for the up-and-comers. Speaking of up-and-comers, Indiana does have the core 4 or 5 on this team, but they've got some solid supporting cast members, newcomers, transfers, you name it. Grace, who's been a player that's a newcomer or a transfer that you've been really impressed with so far this season? And what do you expect them to do to help this team?
The incoming class has just been great, and someone who I've really taken note of is Madeline Strader.
Yeah,
I mean,
she's great.
she came into the program 4-time All-District selection.
Yeah.
And then in 2022, All-District Player of the Year. So she had a lot to live up to in the program. And then there was a spot, the shortstop spot for Brooke Benson. It needed to be filled, and she has taken that role, and she's taken it well. She's the freshman who is batting at 500. And so the thing I've taken the most look at is the 19 hits and 38 at-bats. I mean, for a freshman, that's crazy, much less any player. So I really am impressed with her. I think she has a lot of potential, too.
Through 17 games, batting 500 for anybody is just ridiculous, but especially for a freshman, she's going to be really special this year and in the years to come in her Indiana career. Maura, this is a team that is coming off back-to-back 40-plus win seasons. They've had some solid postseason runs as well. They were oh so close to being Big Ten tournament champions, not once, but twice. In your opinion, what do they need to do this year to get over the hump and win a Big Ten title?
Yeah, I think consistency is key with this team. I think they, last season, kind of analyzing just the normal season, they lost to some key Big Ten players, Penn State and Wisconsin, and we have a redemption against them this season, or they have a redemption against them this season. So I think being consistent with those teams, Penn State, they have home field advantage this year, so I think taking on those teams and being able to turn those losses into wins is something that they need to do this season. I also want to bring up Oregon. Last year, Oregon is a new Big Ten contender, and last year they beat them in the season opener. They were ranked. This year they're not ranked. So I think if you can count on that win against Oregon, it can give you better seeding in the Big Ten tournament and give it maybe a better push. So I think it's what we've seen with like every single sport with the new West Coast teams. How is it going to help or is it going to hurt? And I think for softball, it's going to help.
Yeah, I think so for sure, because those women on the West Coast, they know how to play some softball now. It's going to be some fun competition to see, obviously, in the new Big Ten this year. It's been fun so far across other sports, but now into spring, softball and baseball are going to get even better. Last question before we go to break. What are your guys' predictions for where this team's going to end up this season record-wise? Are they going to get that Big Ten tournament title? Where are they going to end up in the NCAA tournament? What are your guys' predictions for IU softball this year?
I think definitely they're going to get that 40 wins. I mean, they've done it the past 2 years. There's girls on the team that know what it takes to get there. They know what the ups and downs are of a season, what needs to go into that. And I think they also have a chip on their shoulder. They are going to get back to that Big Ten final, and I hope they finish it out strong.
Yeah, third time's the charm is what they say, right?
Do, yes.
Grace and Maura?
You stole my line. I was going to say third time's a charm. But
you can say it again. Of course you can.
Well, third time's a charm. I think that they can taste it at this point. I mean, the past 2 years have just, I feel like, given them so much momentum. You know, they came second to Northwestern. Then they came second to Michigan. I'm sure that they're going to be competing for that regular season title. And obviously, it's still really early in the season, but I have some really good hopes for them in terms of the tournament. I really think they can make a good run.
And in those past 2 Big Ten tournament title games, it wasn't like it was an 11-4 score. Like, this Indiana team's within 2, 3, 4 runs, right? So it's just those little extra pushes that they can make here and there. I think they're certainly primed to do it again, but can they execute and actually do it in what is a gauntlet of a tournament in the Big Ten? Maura?
Yeah, I mean, what both Mary Kate and Grace have said, this team has, like, the hunger for the win. Like, they want the win this year. And I think it is their year. And I think we'll see after this weekend, it's their first home tournament, home stretch. Yeah. And I think this year will really show that they are contenders and that they have the ability to make it far in the tournaments this year.
Well, everybody that's watching at home, keep an eye on these 3. This is the IUSTV Sports Softball Beat. They're going to have coverage all season long, and they are some of sports media's brightest up-and-comers. Maura, Grace, MK, thank you guys so much for coming on the show to talk some IU softball. We're not done yet, though. Still to come on the toss-up. Shonda Stanton joins the show to talk about everything that goes into being the head woman for IU softball. Back in a moment.
The Toss-Up, Fridays on IUSTV.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Toss-Up, I should say. I'm Riley Woodall, and I'm joined now by IU softball head coach Shonda Stanton.
Good to see you, Riley.
Coach, thanks for coming on to the show.
Thank you.
We're going to start with this question. What is the best part about getting to coach softball in the Big Ten?
Gosh, you're talking, and not only Big Ten, but at Indiana, right?
Yeah.
Premier institution, world-class education, the richest and strongest conference in the land. You're talking about, look at the sport across the board. You're talking about ballers, major people that are just so intelligent, playmakers, and so why would you not want to be in the Big Ten, right?
Yeah, and especially why wouldn't you want to be on the Indiana softball team? You guys are
Right.
coming off back-to-back 40-plus win seasons. In 2023, that was your first 40-plus win season since '94. What's it been like from your perspective growing this team, watching them develop, and helping this team along from the time you started a few years ago to now in your 8th season?
Yeah, when I got the call to look at Indiana, Shonda Bell, my associate head coach, is from Indy.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, I'm not promising anything, but I'm going to go check this place out, right? And Bloomington's incredible, is it not? IU, we have such tremendous leadership. But when we looked at a stat sheet, we didn't have much of an identity. But if you looked in the record books, we have some major history. And I knew that I was standing on the shoulders of some greats. And so we knew this was a sleeping giant. We knew we could wake it up. And we had a vision. And, for us, we wanted to recruit the state of Indiana really hard, which we've done. We wanted to build a program that could drop 75 bombs and swipe 100 bags, because you got to have a two-pronged attack on the offensive side of things. We've done that. And so I think when you surround yourself with like-minded people and you work hard and you're at a place that has the Hoosier effect, you just bring them on campus and they're getting that world-class education. You got beautiful facilities and resources. We knew we could wake that sleeping giant up. I think we've done that. And we're putting softball on the map at a national stage and becoming relevant, which is exciting to see.
It is exciting to see, and certainly any time that you have aggressive offenses, I think anybody watching softball is going to really love that and enjoy that. Kind of more on the player-specific level, what do you think are some of the most important characteristics for a potential recruit, a high school softball player coming into college in order for them to be a successful softball player at the collegiate level?
Yeah. Well, there's 5 tools, right, when you look at the game, whether it's softball or baseball. And so, when you look at those tools, we're looking for somebody that has one tool that's elite. So maybe it's arm strength. Maybe it's the hit tool. You either hit for power or you hit for average. Maybe it's speed, somebody that, runs and has that lion mode mentality. We like to talk a lot about the 6th tool, which is the mindset. And then I'm going to keep creating tools. Maybe the 7th tool is the compete tool. And I think for me right now, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for competitors that have that competitive excellence, but they need to have more than that. They need to have competitive character, because character drives winning. So if we can, in the recruiting process, identify that, because getting the talent's easy to identify, but can you identify the competitors, the athleticism, and people that just love to play? We get to play a game. We lace up our cleats, we play in the dirt, and so we want to play fast and dirty and get after it, and I think we have a squad that represents that.
I love that. To kind of follow up on that from the coaching standpoint, how do college softball coaches kind of need to evolve and change a little bit right now with the current college landscape that we're in?
Yeah, I got a chance to meet with some of the student broadcasters today, and I was talking about how, back in the day when cell phones just came around, you're like, you don't want to see them out, you want to be able to interact. And then you flash forward a couple years later and we're Facebooking live from the dugout. So you have to evolve and change as a coach, not only with, cultural things, but technology in our game. Replay is implemented finally, and we're going to be displaying that at Andy Moore Field.
Yeah.
Analytics, 643 charts and all the information that we have at our disposal. When you look at all the film that you have, back in the day, you could throw one pitcher all weekend. And now there's just too much film for that, and you got to be able to look at matchups. You got to be able to see who